What if I told you that confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you create through action? What if I told you the version of you that wins, the version of you that shows up unstoppable, already exists, but they're waiting on one thing, for you to move? That's the truth most people avoid because it's uncomfortable. But you're not here to stay comfortable. You're here to make it happen. Confidence does not fall from the sky. It doesn't arrive at your doorstep wrapped in certainty. It's not something someone hands to you when they believe in you. It's something you earn in the trenches. It's born in those moments when fear is screaming, when doubt is pounding on the door, and you stand up anyway. You act anyway. You face the unknown, shaky, uncertain, imperfect, and by doing so, you tell your fear, I'm in control now. Most people live their entire lives waiting for permission. They wait for someone to say, you're ready. They wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect opportunity, the perfect level of preparation, but here's the truth. That day never comes. Waiting is just fear dressed in logic. If you keep waiting for courage to magically appear, you'll waste your potential, your time, your future. Think about every successful person you admire. They didn't start with unshakable confidence. They started with action. They walked into the unknown when they were scared. They spoke up before their voice was ready. They made moves before they felt qualified, and the world responded, opportunities opened, their belief system grew stronger, but it started when they acted, not when they felt ready. Your mind is watching your every move. Every time you hesitate, it learns hesitation. Every time you lean into fear, it learns courage. You teach your subconscious who you are through your actions. So when you act as if you have the courage to make it happen, you rewire your belief system in real time. You don't have to feel courageous to be courageous, you have to act courageous, and the feelings will follow. Right now, there's something in your life you've been holding back on. That dream, that project, that conversation, that risk, it's sitting there, waiting for you to act. You keep saying, I'll do it when I'm ready. But readiness is an illusion. Action is the only path to readiness. You become ready by doing the thing scared. You become confident by doing the thing unsure. You become unstoppable by showing up before the world claps for you. The only permission you need is your own. The only signal that matters is your decision to move forward. Courage isn't loud in the beginning. It's a whisper that grows with every step you take. And it starts the moment you stop waiting and start acting like the version of you who already made it happen. What if I told you that the biggest enemy standing between you and the life you want isn't your circumstances, your background, or your resources, it's fear? What if I told you fear is the most convincing liar you'll ever face? The voice in your head that tells you you're not ready, that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, it's not reality. It's just fear talking, and the most dangerous part, fear sounds logical. Fear disguises itself as reason, caution, and even common sense. But behind that mask, it's the thief of your potential, the destroyer of your ambition, the reason you keep playing small. Fear will tell you to wait. Fear will tell you to stay in your comfort zone. Fear will remind you of every past mistake and magnify every worst-case scenario. It paints failure in high definition. It whispers that success is for other people. And here's the brutal truth: fear is persuasive because it knows your insecurities better than anyone. It uses your doubts as ammunition. It plays on your deepest uncertainties, but fear's greatest weapon is your belief in its lies. Imagine what your life would look like if you never gave fear the microphone. Imagine the risks you'd take, the dreams you'd chase, the goals you'd crush. But instead, most people hand over the steering wheel to fear, letting it control their decisions, their actions, their future. The terrifying part, fear only has as much power as you give it. It can't physically stop you. It can't control your actions. But the moment you believe its lies, you voluntarily hold yourself back. The craziest thing is, fear loses its power the second you act. Think about it. How many times have you been terrified to do something, only to realize afterward it wasn't nearly as bad as your mind made it seem? That's the trick fear plays. It builds mountains out of molehills. It turns challenges into monsters. It convinces you that discomfort equals danger. But when you step forward, when you move despite the panic, fear starts to shrink. The monster under the bed disappears when you flip on the light. That's the secret to dismantling fear. Don't wait for it to disappear before you act. You act while it's present. You make moves in spite of the shaky hands, the racing heart, the anxious thoughts. Every time you take action with fear sitting beside you, you strip away its influence. You prove to yourself that fear can bark, but it can't bite. You remind yourself that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward even when fear's voice is screaming in your ear. Fear is always going to exist. It shows up whenever you're leveling up. It appears when you're stretching beyond your comfort zone, chasing something meaningful, stepping into unknown territory. But here's the undeniable truth: fear's presence is often the greatest confirmation that you're on the right path. Fear guards the door to growth, and the only way past it is through relentless, intentional action. What if I told you fear has been lying to you your entire life? What if I told you that voice in your head, the one that says you're not ready, the one that says you'll fail, the one that convinces you to play it safe, is nothing more than fear pretending to be the truth? That's the trick fear plays on all of us. It doesn't come at you aggressively. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, as practicality. It whispers in your ear, convincing you to delay, to overthink, to wait for the right time. But deep down, you know the truth: fear is the greatest liar you'll ever meet. Fear exaggerates everything. It makes obstacles look bigger than they are. It makes failure seem permanent. It makes you believe success is reserved for other people. Fear amplifies every insecurity you've ever had and uses it against you. But here's the thing most people don't realize: fear isn't reality. It's a distorted version of what might happen, built entirely inside your mind. And the more you listen to it, the more you hand over control of your life to a lie. Think about all the opportunities you've hesitated on, the chances you've talked yourself out of, the dreams you've put on hold because fear convinced you that you weren't good enough, that it wasn't the right time, that failure would destroy you. But look back, how many times has fear actually been right? Most of the things you feared never even happened. And even when they did, you survived. You grew. You learned. The fear was louder than the reality. Fear is clever. It's always going to show up when you're stepping into the unknown, when you're chasing something bigger than yourself, when you're leveling up. It's part of your mind's defense mechanism, trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you comfortable. But comfort zones are the most dangerous place to live because nothing grows there. Fear knows that. That's why it wants to keep you small, stuck, and silent. The only way to break fear's grip is to act not after the fear leaves, but while it's still present. That's where real power lies. Every time you move despite being afraid, fear weakens. Every time you speak up, show up, or take a risk while fear is still whispering in your ear, you reclaim control. You train your mind to stop believing the lie. You prove to yourself that fear isn't in charge, you are. You will never eliminate fear completely. It's hardwired into you. But fear doesn't have to be the driver. It can ride in the backseat while you take the wheel. Fear is loud, but your actions speak louder. And the moment you decide to stop waiting for courage and start moving with fear present, everything begins to shift. Fear only owns the space you refuse to step into. Once you step in, you expose the lie for what it is. What if I told you that your mind doesn't lead your actions lead your mind? What if I told you that the fastest way to change your belief system, your confidence, and your identity is not by thinking harder, but by moving differently? That's the truth most people never realize. They sit around waiting to feel motivated, confident, ready. But your feelings are followers, not leaders. Your mind believes what you consistently act out, not what you occasionally think about. You can think about being successful all day, but until you act like the person you want to become, your mind stays stuck where it's always been. Imagine this: every time you act with hesitation, procrastination, or self-doubt, your brain is recording that behavior. It's learning this is who we are, this is how we operate. We hesitate, we shrink, we hold back. You are programming yourself through your actions, whether you realize it or not. But here's the flip side: when you act with confidence, when you move with purpose, when you show up as if you already believe in yourself, your mind starts rewriting the code. Your brain starts saying, maybe we are this person. Maybe we are bold, disciplined, focused. It starts to believe the story your actions are telling. This is the same principle elite performers, athletes, and successful entrepreneurs understand. They don't wait to feel unstoppable, they act unstoppable. They show up early, they prepare relentlessly, they attack challenges with energy, even when doubt lingers in the background. Over time, their mind catches up to those actions, and confidence becomes automatic. But it starts with movement, not motivation. Think about the most confident people you know. They didn't wake up one day magically believing in themselves. They stacked small wins. They moved in the direction of their goals, even when fear whispered in their ear. With each action, their belief system expanded. You can do the same thing. You don't need permission to believe you're worthy of success. You just need to act like it, and your mind will follow. Your brain craves evidence. It's constantly asking, who are we? What are we capable of? Your actions provide the answers. When you shrink, your brain says, we're not capable. When you rise up, your brain says, we're built for this. It's not about faking confidence, it's about acting in alignment with the person you're becoming, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when doubt is screaming in the background. If you act weak, your mind believes you're weak. If you act powerful, your mind believes you're powerful. It's that simple, but most people overcomplicate it. They wait for the feeling to lead the action, but action has always been the spark. Move with certainty. Speak with authority. Stand with confidence. Even when you don't feel ready, act ready. Even when you don't feel worthy, act worthy. Your mind is always watching, always listening, always learning from what you do next. What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is the belief that you need permission? What if I told you that every successful person you admire, every story of greatness you've ever heard, started the moment someone stopped waiting and decided to take the shot? That's the hard truth most people avoid. They're not stuck because they lack talent, resources, or intelligence. They're stuck because they keep waiting for someone to give them the green light. But here's the reality. No one's coming to save you, no one's coming to crown you, and no one's coming to hand you the opportunity of a lifetime. You already have permission. The question is, will you take the shot? You've probably been conditioned to believe you need approval. From the moment you were a kid, you were taught to raise your hand, to ask for permission, to wait your turn. But life doesn't work like that. Success doesn't work like that. The people who rise, the ones who build legacies, the ones who break records, they're not waiting for validation, they're moving before anyone believes in them. They act as if they've already earned the right to be there, and the world eventually catches up to that energy. Every day you wait, your potential collects dust. Every moment you hesitate, someone else with less talent but more courage steps into the space that could have been yours. That business idea you keep sitting on, someone else is building it right now. That opportunity you keep thinking about, it's slipping away while you convince yourself you're not ready. Readiness is an illusion. No one ever feels fully prepared for greatness. They act, they learn, they adjust. But it starts with claiming your space, taking your shot, and deciding that permission comes from within. You've already seen it in your life. Think about those moments when you moved without overthinking. When you spoke up, when you took the risk, when you trusted your gut. Those moments were when you came alive. That wasn't luck. That wasn't timing. That was you tapping into your power. And the only reason it felt right was because you stopped waiting for external validation and gave yourself permission to show up. The people who make it, the ones who change their lives, all share one thing in common: they stop asking for permission to be great. They apply for the job they shouldn't get. They start the business they aren't qualified for. They pursue the dream everyone else doubts, and guess what? They fall, they fail, but they keep firing shots and eventually one lands. That's the game. The more shots you take, the more chances you have to win. But the first step, you have to step up with the belief that you belong there, even when the world hasn't caught up yet. Your courage is the permission slip you've been waiting for.